In poker, folding means giving up the battle so that you might still win the war.
Good bluff.
Surrender doesn't always mean defeat.
I hate myself.
In fact, it can make you a hero.
That is an amazing fold.
These are the top 5 greatest folds of all time. 2 pair for Grussem, Broadway for Gerbi.
This is going to be a shame.
Gerbi checks, Grussem bets 40,000.
Here comes the raise. Throws that bet in with some force. Try to Gerbi your enthusiasm, pal.
115,000 total.
Phil Grussem looks a little nonplussed and maybe even a little suspicious, though I don't think he can ever lay this down on the flop.
115, right?
Yeah. He calls.
When this goes 3 bets pre-flop, you just can't fold there. Gerbi's allegedly friends with Daro Minieri, but I don't see them cruising around on Daro's moped together.
6 of clubs on the turn.
All in.
Gerbi shoves.
Check raise, then the open shove. That's going to look pretty strong.
Now I need a call. Exact call.
It's all in for my friend Umberto, just for him.
It would be all in for Phil to call. Phil's likely going to have to think this through.
He's got top 2.
Wowzers!
What a fold!
Iken has sick laydowns?
Why did Gerbi show him?
Hey, all of Italy just fist pumped. The rest of the world, shaking their heads.
Elke looks down at King 7 suited, under the gun +1 and raises to 3,500.
And Daniel's new hair makes him look permanently surprised.
He's got pocket 5s and he calls. Paul knew he's got pocket 4s in the cutoff.
Another Mashneftli millionaire.
He'll call as well. Silverman folds the button. 8-10 suited for Jonathan Duhamel in the small blind.
Everything pretty standard in this hand so far. Even Jonathan calling wouldn't be too out of the ordinary.
He has called, and Grussem will call out of the big blind with King 10 offsuit.
Of course he's defending. He's got pot odds, and they're good.
5-way to the flop. Full house for Negreanu. Trip 8 for Duhamel, who checks.
Well, this is pretty coolery.
Grussem checks as well. Elke was the pre-flop aggressor. No C-bet. Action on Negreanu. He bets 10,000. Knew he's out. How does Duhamel respond with his trips?
Jonathan could call or raise.
He raises. It's a raise to 30,000. Grussem and Elke get out of the way. Action back on Negreanu.
You have red ones?
The reds are worth 25k each.
When Jonathan raises, I think he expects Daniel to be semi-bluffing a lot and probably doesn't want to give him a cheap card. Daniel's gamble has paid off, hoping someone out of his 5 opponents he just bet into is going to wake up with an 8.
Negreanu 3 bets. He makes it 65,000.
Daniel knows his rep is to not bet into 5 opponents with nothing, so Jonathan's not going to be raising him very often with nothing. So when Daniel 3 bets in this spot, he's going to have pocket 5s and ace 8 a lot. Jonathan knows this, but pretty much no one knows it hard enough to lay down an 8 on this flop.
You say that, but Duhamel finds a fold.
Wow, he knew it super hard.
Great laydown.
It's a good bluff.
Jonathan, that laydown was superb. And I don't know if you've heard, James, but superb's the word.
Ace-king for Ludovic Geilich.
When you're the most aggressive guy at the table, you should really be 3-betting this, but against a guy with a perceived tight image and almost as many chips as you, just calling is fine too.
Geilich does just call, in position. Curly Sadu's off on another wander.
Gonna take a little stretch.
Kozlov calls as well with 8-7 in the big blind. 3-way to the flop, which is all diamonds, jack high.
Everyone's got a diamond. 2 of them are big, but only one of those people is a Geilich.
Action's been checked to Ludo. He bets 98,000, gets a fold from Kozlov.
Karakousis, not folding.
He calls with the nut flush draw. Brick on the turn. Karakousis checks a second time. Ludo bets again. 236,000.
2 barrels now. Weird. I know he's semi-bluffing, but it sort of goes against his pre-flop slow play. Pre-flop low variance, post-flop high variance with a hand that's got a lot of showdown value.
Once again, Karakousis calls.
Karakousis is playing it perfectly, which, to be fair, is mostly to Ludo's credit.
It's a diamond on the river. That's the nuts for Karakousis and the second nuts for Ludo. Action's been checked to Geilich again.
Sweet check by Karakousis. Ludo gonna do what Ludo do.
He bets the better part of $500,000.
Karakousis just making sure there's no straight flush out there.
All in.
He shoves. He check raises all in.
I love Karakousis' line till that moment. I think a smaller raise gets paid, a shove probably never.
Tough to fold the second nuts. He does fold!
Yeah, buddy.
Nice one.
Great lay down by Ludovic Geilich. Galen Hall, on the button, has posted the small blind, and is first to speak, looks down at 8-4 offsuit.
You can widen your range heads up and raise almost any 2 cards profitably from the button.
He's made it 450,000. Oliver has ace deuce in the big blind. He'll make the call,
Chris makes the call.
and we will see a flop.
To the flop.
The flop is 3-5 deuce. It's an up and down straight draw for Hall. Oliver still leads with a pair of twos and a gut shot straight draw.
This is a good flop for Hall to continuation bet.
Oliver is checked to him. Hall makes a C bet of 575,000.
Oliver won't be going anywhere.
Makes the call. The turn is the 2 of hearts. Trip twos now for Oliver. Hall still has the straight draw. Oliver checks a second time.
He checks the best turn card in the deck so Hall can fire again.
Check from
But
Galen.
Hall checks behind.
Check. Let's see the river card.
Hall makes a straight on the river, but Oliver has a full house.
The absolute worst card in the deck for Hall as he makes a wheel. How much money is he gonna lose is the real question.
Oliver sets the trap. He checks to him.
What a trap indeed. He's just praying his opponent has a 4 as he does.
Hall makes a value bet with his straight of 2 million.
That is a full pot size bet. Now it's going to be back on Oliver. He is contemplating exactly how much he can check raise. Galen Hall has 9.5 million chips behind. There are 4 million chips in the pot.
Come on.
Chris Oliver shoves on Galen Hall. He's trying to end it here.
As wild as Oliver is, it's still highly unlikely he ever shows up with the stone cold bluff. If Oliver was bluffing, he could have made a standard check raise rather than the all-in.
Can Galen Hall get away from this?
Only if he dismisses the idea of Oliver turning missed diamonds or a pair into a bluff and interprets this all-in overbet as a pure value bet to end it all.
Oliver praying for a call.
That is a large bet.
Large, it's twice the pot.
If Galen Hall calls here with his straight, the tournament is over and Chris Oliver has won the 2011 PCA.
Oliver's image is telling Hall to call.
But something in his gut is telling him it doesn't add up, it's not right. And he makes the laydown! Galen Hall gets away from the straight! That is an amazing fold!
Since he realized he was chopping the pot at best, he cut his losses and made a spectacular fold.
So Jeffrey Hakim is going to open with a raise from the cutoff to 65,000 with Queen Jack suited. Wilinofsky's got aces again?
Call.
No one believes button 3 bets, but he's going to slow play and just call.
Ace 9 suited for Joop van der Bijgaart in the big blind. Any chance he squeezes?
With the suited ace and the odds he's getting in the pot, he's probably going to call, but it wouldn't be a bad spot with Ben just calling on the button.
How much is this? 65. I call.
And what a flop. Ace 9 deuce with 2 clubs. Top set for Wilinofsky. Top 2 pair for van der Bijgaart.
Disastrous flop for everybody but Wilinofsky. A Hollywood poker writer couldn't have scripted this cooler any better.
193.
He is going to raise. He sticks 100,000 on top.
Show's about to get expensive.
So he 3 bets to 530,000. He's stuck in about a third of his stack.
No, Hakeem can't call it all off with the flush draw.
He has shoved on Vanden Bijgaart.
Ben announces re-raise all in.
He looks disgusted. I'd be happy.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Having committed a third of his chips, he's not meant to pass a hand this strong.
He has top 2 on a board where it's very difficult for any hand to have him beat. I would already be eliminated from the tournament by now.
I'm in the same boat. My chips would have gone across the line, the cards would have gone on their back, and I would have said NHGG.
Such a big hand, but I can't beat anything.
How do you put Wilinofsky on a set here?
Yoop is clearly thinking Ben does not have a bluff in his range.
Can have aces. Can have aces.
He does have aces.
That's so sick.
He put aces in his range.
Maybe it's because Wilinofsky just called pre-flop that makes him think he does have aces.
The first time ever that I don't really know what to do and I don't have a good plan.
I do that to people.
I guess. I hate myself. You would show if I fold? Talking all the time, and now you're saying, don't say anything.
Interesting read.
Oh.
I'm just not going to answer that question.
No, I know.
Makes you feel better, though. I don't hate you.
I'm sorry?
I don't hate you. You just said you hated yourself. I kind of like it.
I don't like myself.
You has picked up on the fact that Ben has gone quiet. He's the chattiest man in poker, and suddenly he's gone as still as a statue. He's laid it down! I'm tempted to call that an amazing fold, or am I just being results-oriented?
Vanden Bijgaart should feel extremely proud. That is a spot where the majority of poker players would have gone broke.